Hello. I almost finished eating my dinner before the stream started. I'm still eating it, kind of. Yeah, we're going to try to do this again. I tried to stream. Well, I did stream yesterday, but I unlisted it. Because I didn't make any progress. Then I got into some kind of political discussion. I don't think it was really that bad, to be honest. But I don't know. I just didn't want to keep it up. Yeah, we're gonna make another go at it tonight. Kill one boss at least. I didn't even kill one boss yesterday, so that was like I didn't do any. I didn't make any progress compared to all of my prior streams. So hopefully tonight we'll have more luck. I just got back from the gym, so that's why I was hungry. I'm still eating my dinner. But just like it's been since I've been doing these long fights with these bosses, which it was just like that yesterday. I fought one boss the whole stream, but I'm going to listen to stuff in the background. So it's not just, it's not just the same shit. Me just cussing at the same boss. Intersperse it with some other dynamic background. But anyway, let me actually load up the shit in the background. I was eating a burger. Jim made me hungry for a burger. Shit, I was hungry before I even went to the gym. Like, I was doing Tekken sessions on another streamer's channel, Lovely Yuko, who's pretty cool. And I had no luck on those matches. I was trying out other characters, though, that I never played, and that's part of it. But I need to get good. I'm not good at the game yet. Still need to get good. I thought just knowing the basic fundamentals would make me decent with even characters I didn't use before, but no, that didn't help me at all.
Alright, this one is...
Okay, we're gonna listen to some lore stuff. This is Quaylag, who's a content creator for Souls material. And she made a new video today. So I want to listen to it. It's about the butterflies. The butterflies are a big part of the lore of this game, Elden Ring. So we'll listen to it. I don't know if we'll listen to the whole thing. We'll listen to a bit of it.
Is for the old heads who have been following my channel for a long time and are used to me just like turning on the camera and screaming without any editing and with my dog barking in the background. This video is for you because that's going to be the format this time. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to put in time and effort into properly editing my videos, but thank you all so much for supporting me and watching a lot of my newer content. I've been in the process of moving and we finally moved, so I'll finally be able to dedicate more time and energy into making videos for you guys, which is going to be awesome because the DLC is right around the corner. I feel like I moved at the most opportune time. I was worried that it was going to land during June, but thankfully we're here, we're out here, we're going to be doing our best. So I'm going to be talking about the butterfly crafting items and which style they represent, but it actually, this video got way more complex and a lot more
I'm really liking
hefty than I was thinking it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like, this butterfly is Melania, this butterfly is Nicola, and this butterfly may or may not be Mesmer or Melina. Let's get into it. It actually got way more complicated, and a lot of that is because there's a lot of discourse around fragmented identity being
what did you say?
Way more complex and a lot more hefty than I was thinking it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like, this butterfly is Melania, this butterfly is Miquella, and this butterfly may or may not be Mesmer or Melina. Let's get into it. It actually got way more complicated. And a lot of that is because there's a lot of discourse around fragmented identity and whether or not one soul can fragment into multiple other characters. There's also a really great lore theory
necessarily
right now
think everyone's got a fragmented
identity. Shout out
identity.
to Tim Diggity. So go check out Tim's video on Is Miquella Melina?
I reacted to that
really
already.
Compelling, specifically
I saw the
in
Tim
regard to the
Diggity
Spirit
video.
Calling Bell and how Melina ended up with
So she's going
Torrent
to talk about
I'm
it.
going to explore another avenue
Yeah, I want to hear
that
her
could be interpreted.
interpretation
but
of
open
it.
to that being a thing. For
Even
those
though I
that
don't
are new
agree.
to the Soulsborne series, it's actually not super
I
uncommon
don't think
for one
Miquella
character
is
to be
Melanie or
fragmented into
Melina.
multiple characters. Specifically in Dark Souls 1, we have Manus, who in Dark Souls 2, his soul gets fragmented into multiple souls.
Yeah, but Dark
and
Souls
all
2
of them are women.
sucks.
All of them are women that end up
I don't
becoming
like that part
rulers
of it
or
either.
leaders, and it's really awesome to see. Like, I don't know. I didn't used to like this idea.
Yeah, I still don't like it. It's
kind
stupid
of like
to me.
this cycle of reused characters. I used to hate that because I thought maybe
I
it
don't
was
like
lazy
it.
writing. But now that I understand that it's supposed to depict a cycle of like repeat errors or a cycle of suffering, I do understand that, and I appreciate it a lot more now, especially that Miyazaki has the support and the finances and like the team to amplify his vision. I think also getting George R. R. Martin on the writing has been like incredibly helpful. I just love the way that
On the
everything's
lore, anyway,
manifested in
not
Elden
necessarily
Ring.
the writing.
It's so wonderful, and I'm going to get into all of that.
That's important too.
While we dive into this. But before I get into each individual child and some of the identity stuff that's going on in this game, and like who's the Glowmite Queen, who's Melina, who's Miquella, who's Saint Judah, I do need to break down some kind of like baseline lore that we've covered.
I think
in other
Melina's the
videos.
Glowmite
For those of you
Queen.
that have
That
seen
makes
my
more
Elden
sense to me.
John video, and for those of you that have seen any of my older videos, this is going to be
Oh
like
my
old news to
God.
you. But for those of you that are new here and like have no clue who Elden
They were
John
almost
is, this
dead.
is for you. I'm going to go over this very quickly. So there's definitely like a vague timeline that we can break apart in Elden Ring based off of the sigils and how the depiction of the Elden Ring has changed over the course of history. I would say the biggest point or the biggest difference is that there used to be 4 equidistant rings, and the 4th most southern ring is then absorbed into the center to become what's called the Anchor Rune, which is then
This is some shit I have not looked
in the
into.
story, but it's kind of uncertain. It's kind of uncertain, like how this changes anything. All we know is that
my
there's
jump
just like
button
a
doesn't work
big
anymore.
disparity between the rune that is depicted in Farum Azula and the rune that's depicted
That's
from
another
ancient
problem I
Erdtree
noticed
era
from playing tech.
onward
My
into the
controller is
fundamentalist era, which we know now. But we're going to talk about that.
I already
And we're
said
talking
that
about
I was
everything
going to
that
get a controller
predates
on
the
Thursday.
Erdtree and
Tomorrow's
Erdtree
Thursday.
burials.
So that's
We're
just
going
going
to
to
talk about
happen
all
first
of
thing tomorrow.
the magic
My
that talks
controller's
about like
fucked.
in an era before the Erdtree, or like
It's not
magic
even
that exists
recognizable.
outside of the purview of the Erdtree. We're going to be talking about ancestral followers. We're going to be talking about deathrite birds, the god skins,
Oh, the deathrite birds, those
I
are
need to set the
annoying-ass
foundations for everything, so that way you guys know what I'm talking about. Because there's a couple of folks who have rolled up into my streams and have had no idea who the fuck we're talking about. So let's get this established. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, there is a specific unique icon asset that is on the map called the Ul Palace. I know that because of translation, this can also be translated into like Palace or Uld Palace. I've seen like variants and interpretations or translations, but is like very similar to ancient Mesopotamia. I'll talk about that. We're going to talk about like the visual design and like visual inspiration for these areas. But pretty much there is like this ancient dynasty that used to exist. Tarnished Archaeologist also has a video on them. I want to amplify that and boost that as well. And I'm going to talk about some of Tarnished Archaeologist's findings.
What is your name?
In addition to my own.
I can't see it very well.
So
Bella Austin.
I'm going to link it in the description.
But
pretty much,
speaking of Austin, I live in
this
Austin.
ancient dynasty that used to exist in
Good
a lot of
evening.
different groups.
If you also live in the States.
this entity or like worship in the ruins.
I just started my stream.
Of this group.
I don't know if you've ever played Souls.
It's different than the Noxtella and Nocron.
We're playing Elden today. I'm doing the level 1 run, so it's kind of hard.
It predates the Eternal Cities by like several thousand years.
We're also listening to some lore
in Elden Ring in the background. We're just looking at like the historical
from a content creator named Playlive.
So a lot of the architecture is based off of like
and she streams as well on Twitch.
Like it's based off of ancient Mesopotamian and like Babylonian architecture. So, for example, we have Jordan that's being represented. We have the Tigris and the Euphrates that's being represented. I do think that the Ainsel River Wall
Have you ever
and the
played a
Schaefer
Souls game?
River Wall are like a multifaceted allegory. I think that they're both representative
Dark Souls?
of the Tigris and the Euphrates, but I also think that they're representative of the Nordic river walls and Nordic mythology, and I'll talk about that too.
Also, Sekiro kind of counts,
a lot of the architecture and like ruins are taken from like actual Babylonian ruins. So we have Jordan being represented here. We have the Black Obelisk that's being represented, although I talk about this in another video, but the reliefs that are like...
So this is all details she's taken from...
So they fully like ripped this asset, like they scanned it and like put it in the game, but the thing that's different are these pieces right here. They changed
architecture
the reliefs here.
artifacts in these
Everything
games.
from like here down is like the actual asset itself. There is cuneiform, which is like the ancient language that is depicted on this section. You can kind of see it right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's cuneiform in the game. There is like ancient Hebrew in the game. There's like a bunch of different languages that are in the game. So it's really cool to see all these like historical references, like kind of helping us get an idea of where things sit on a timeline. Because I do think that by utilizing these like ancient civilizations, we're able to kind of evoke this like feeling of, or like the developers are able to evoke this feeling of this is very old. Like this is very old, and it's very clear that like based off of the materials that they used and based off of everything else that it's older than the Eternal Cities. So it's a cool way to allow history to inform your art and to like create a feeling without necessarily like explicitly stating in the lore anywhere that they're older than the Eternal Cities. It's just visually obvious that they're older than the Eternal Cities. So I think it's incredibly important to like break that down.
Just going off the architecture logic.
The Eternal Cities also have a different icon on the map than these ruins. So these ruins are incredibly important because the ancestral followers like post up in these ruins, and so does Moog, and like a lot of the Moogwyn Dynasty Omen that like follow him. They also post up in these ruins. So there's a bunch of different groups that are more modern that are trying to like embrace older practices, because
some of those petrified
these older practices embrace them and have room for them, whereas the Erdtree Fundamentalist Order doesn't. The Erdtree Fundamentalist Order doesn't allow them to exist how they want to, because of
they want to erase
system
the
of
past,
rules that have been put into place.
the Golden
I
Order.
think it has a lot to do with the Rune of Dust and Death being sealed, and with death being processed differently. So let me break this down really quick. The ancestral followers have a belief where they'll actually like do sacrificial rituals, and they'll kill people that don't experience what's called budding. Sorry, big Cooper.
Oh, I never heard of the budding.
They'll
What is that
kill
shit?
individuals that aren't experiencing budding. So hold on, let me actually go over here.
Man, we almost killed this guy.
Horn,
Now
and this is the
I'm
ancestral
dying
spirit
over
horn.
and over.
It says this horn began to sprout on a beast that typically bears no horn.
All because I was
Perhaps
in
a
here.
vestige of the primordial crucible. And then if you read the ancestral spirit, like the regal ancestral spirit horn, it says, a number of new growths bud from the antler-like horns of the fallen king, each glowing with light. Thus does new life grow from death, and from death one obtains power. So this is incredibly important. The antlers are like this
those antlers,
gray-looking color,
from the
and
Night City
leaves are sprouting from this. And there's also like a really cool mechanic that the regal ancestral spirit has as like a boss
the
mechanic.
boss,
I know a
not
lot
even
of
just the
people will
enemies.
be over-leveled
The
or
actual
like
boss.
over-tuned when they encounter this boss sometimes, to the point where like they don't get to see this mechanic happen. I actually missed this mechanic the first time that I went through, but if you're fighting the regal ancestral spirit, it'll actually sacrifice all the animals in the arena, because there's like spirit animals.
Oh yeah, that's right. Those are in there.
It'll
I
sacrifice all
forgot
those
they are.
animals and absorb it, and like when
Yeah,
it
they
absorbs
do
those
that. I
animals,
forgot
it
about
regens
all of
hit
it.
points. So it's really cool. There's like this idea of spirits being like absorbed into this like container, which is like the ancestral spirit, being shown in practice, being shown in the boss fight mechanic. Sorry. But yeah, so you can kind of see on the Regal Ancestral Spirit boss, it's growing tree leaves. It's like the gray, like petrified remains growing new life, which is such a cool visual motif. I love to see it. But there's this like weird antler.
There's a lot of subtle details in the game that are just not noticed enough.
And it says,
I love it.
In the ancestral spirit worshipping faith, these are considered envoys' wings, made to reap the lives of beings which experience no sprouting. So these were like part of the sacrificial ritual where they would sacrifice the beings with no horns. There's also the priestesses, the ancestral spirit priestesses who like post up in the old palace ruins, and they're typically facing these like petrified trees, and they're singing to the trees, and they're holding up the. I think they're holding a
reindeer
or they're
women
holding
here.
like the infant head.
Is that who they're talking about?
But they're like praying, and they're usually surrounded by animals, usually rats or stags.
Yeah,
or whatever.
it's those
The males will
reindeer
sometimes
women.
like stomp, and that's their like dance ritual thing that they do. But you can also find them. I think another really cool fun fact is you can also find them around the petrified trees that are in the
They're not very good at
consecrated
dancing. You see.
snowfield. This was a really difficult picture for me to
But
get
that
because
is what they do.
the blizzard makes it like incredibly hard to see, but you can see them worshiping the trees in this area as well. So it definitely
Oh,
seems
there's a
like
snow area where you
they'll
see
be
them? I
both
forgot.
topside and underside around the old palace ruins. You could find them in the labyrinth topside in Liurnia, kind of like kicking it around the Elden John statues. But you could also find
you say
them
Elton
in the
John
Undercities doing the
statues?
same thing. They just love to be around this idea of like sacrificial sprouting, growing trees out of the self, cultivating this like spiritual material into like a spirit tree. And I'm going to be using the term spirit tree from here on out. But this is really cool because it actually ties in with a real world myth in Nordic mythology that has to do with this
Yggdrasil?
big stag. I'm going to be using its English name because I'm really bad at a lot of these older names, but Oakthorny is this stag that eats the leaves off of the Yggdrasil, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of poems about how there's like celestial dew or like these celestial waters that then come off
Sometimes
of its
nectar.
horns, and I've seen it described in multiple different ways. I've seen it described as like it is coming from the elk itself, like it's coming off of the elk's horns itself. But I've also seen it described as like
Is that part of the tree, kind of?
it is like catching the dew of like the fresh morning, like the sun is rising, and you know like when you see dew on like grass in the morning, it's like that, and it's shedding off of the antlers of these like great stags and creating the river wells of the entire world. So the fact that we have like the Einsel river well and the Schioffer river well kind of like flowing through relates to this myth and relates to the ancestral spirit, which I think is really cool. So we have three different myths happening. We have Celtic myth with the naming conventions of Einsel and Schioffer. We have Nordic myth with the giant stags, and we have Babylonian myth with a lot of the what are they? The Oracle Bubble Boys.
Those guys.
I'm gonna link a thread down below for those of you that are interested in those guys. Content creator Little Church Lore made a whole Twitter thread on like the lore and historical references regarding the Bubble Boys. I'm gonna call them that in the Riverwell. There's a lot of like really cool myths regarding them, but that is like a whole other video that I can make, and I don't want to get into that right now. So I'm gonna link that in the description down below if you're interested. But yeah,
That
so
was
we have
close.
this
I almost
era
died there.
pre-Erdtree burials, and so we have one way that death is processed is through this like
Why did
death
they do
rite
that?
ritual. Another way that death is processed, and something else I also want to point out too. This is something that Vati actually pointed out to me, but the Great Horn ritual
Oh, hey, you can
staff
talk.
actually
Okay.
does look like death rite bird wings, and even though it's saying that, or even though it says that, you know, this is like obviously created from a horn. It says a.
I gotta pay more
this is
attention to the shit like the Death Rite birds when I get to them. later.
It does say that these are considered envoys' wings, and the Death Rite birds, as well as the twin birds, are considered the envoys of death. The twin birds are the mother of the Death Rite birds, and the twin birds are like quite fascinating. They're depicted all over Fair Missoula, which Fair Missoula is where
Are
we
they?
find this version of the
I
Elden
need to pay
Ring.
more attention when I'm there.
Zula is a giant floating mausoleum. Specifically, Tarnished archaeologists pointed out that this is inspired by the necropolis of Varna, which is like a very, very, very ancient necropolis. I want to say that one is about like 5000 BC. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Double check that, because I actually don't remember off the top of my head. But it's very, very ancient. So we have this whole visual, like, whoever is the art director of these games is fucking cracked. Point blank period. Like, they really nailed all of these like ancient older societies as like
they're very good at what they do.
Either like the advent of human language or pre-language. And like the way that death is processed in all of these is very like pagan. It's like very like associated with like this natural cycle of life and death. There's a lot of animal depiction. There's a lot of just like really awesome stuff that is cool and neat to consider. Oh, another little dealie. The spiral columns that I talked about in the DLC breakdown video, those also are from this area too. So it's cool that we're seeing, it's Jerusalem. It's cool that we're seeing like all this architecture that is like referencing this particular area and like this era of history. I love it. It's cool. So anyway,
there's just so much info you get from the architecture.
Or not, sorry, not after this era. I want to talk about the Glowman Queen. That's right. So we talked about the Death Ray Birds.
I think it is.
Death Ray Birds were in charge of burning the dead before Erdtree burials were a thing. So in the time when there was no Erdtree, death was burned in ghost flame. Death Birds were the keepers of that fire. And then
I've heard this.
The entities that were in charge of death indiscriminate, so like the death of gods, because gods were also immortal.
Yeah, they weren't really always gods. That's why.
God,
the Godskin
Noble
from the Greater Will.
The Godskin Nobles and the Godskin Apostle
the outer
and the
guys
Queen were all in charge of dealing with the death of the gods. So we have the Death Ray Birds who are like just in charge of mortality, and then we have like these human entities that are in charge of death indiscriminate. So like, you are not above mortality, even if you're a god. It's death indiscriminate. Everybody deserves a chance. Like there needs to be cycles of life and death, and it's like part of the natural cycle of everything.
So when you lock death away, you cause some
something
weird
that I think is really important is the fact that like the Death Ray Birds are associated as a time before the Erdtree, and the nobles are the most ancient apostles who have assimilated in human physiology, not unlike the Crucible, the Erdtree in its primordial form. There is this idea of like a primordial Erdtree that's referenced throughout the game. Some people call it the Great Tree. Some people debate whether or not the Great Tree even existed. I'm definitely of the mindset that there is like a primordial...
Pretty sure it existed. The Crucible seems to be indicating that it did.
Version of the Erdtree, and I think that it changes to the Erdtree at some point in history, and I think that line exists right here. Maybe? I don't know. But I do think that the Crucible era is like incredibly important.
The Crucible is the primordial tree before the
Erdtree. Cast this like sigil, and this is like pretty much the ancient Erdtree era. But like, it's very clear that the Anchor Rune is active during this era, whereas in this one there is no Anchor Rune. It's like 4 equidistant circles. So it's very clear that there's like an obvious difference between these two eras. And I think that has a lot to do with death and death being sealed away, and I think it has a lot to do with the way that death is processed changing. And it's during this era that Godfrey and his rule then create these like big gladiatorial coliseums where people will like get together and they'll fight each other, and the people who die will get put into pots, and then the pots get put
is that why they're in pots? I didn't know
and then later minor Erdtrees. And it also says that they're acting as like fertilizer.
That's the punishment for losing?
Mass Erdtree burials.
Or winning.
Kind of on steroids. So that's like this whole era of death being
why am I not
hitting
him at all with this?
That whole era like was established with Godfrey. But that's like a whole other, once again, that's like a whole other video. I don't want to get like too distracted. Okay, now we've made it to Golden Order fundamentalism. This is when
I want to hear all the theories.
Marika has dumped Godfrey, and she gets together with, Radagon, and whether or not that he was like his own man or if he was always an aspect of Marika, that's up for debate, and I'm sure that we're going to get like a big reveal.
I don't think they were always
but when her and Radagon have children, they are considered to be born from one god, not born from a lord and a god, not born from 2 different gods, born from one god. And these kids often have curses associated with them. And if you read Miquella's like lore and Melania's lore, it says Miquella and Melania are both children of a single god.
Yeah, I
As
read
such,
that.
they are both Empyreans, but suffered afflictions from birth. One was cursed with eternal childhood, where the other harbored rot within. And I feel like I'm gonna knock out
Melania was
Melania's
cursed by an
butterfly
outer
because I feel
god.
like it's the most obvious and the easiest
I don't
for
think
me
that
to
was
like
because
break down. Melania's
of
butterfly
being born
not
from
only
one
resembles
god.
Melania in like color palette and concept, but it's
He was
actually
cursed by an outer
referenced
rock god.
in the butterfly item description that it is associated with the goddess of rot herself, and then it's also referring to Aeonia, which is the name that refers to Scarlet Aeonia, which is Melania's massive bloom she released during her battle with Radon. In addition to all of this, all of the items that you can create with this butterfly item are all rot related, so like it's very obvious that this is about her. There's like no debate as to like who this is referencing. This is Melania, right?
Pretty much.
Then we have the nascent butterfly, and the nascent butterfly is like super interesting because Miquella's lore is all over the place. So, very simple visual reference is that the nascent butterfly is like in reference to Miquella's eternal youth, but also Miquella's cocoon. The description says an arcane butterfly with translucent wings, material used for crafting items. Exceedingly rare to find, this butterfly appears as if it's emerged from its cocoon for its entire life. As if it's just emerged from its cocoon for its entire life. Sorry. So it's kind of saying it's like a premature, eternal youth butterfly. It's like translucent, its wings aren't fully developed yet, is kind of what it's trying to get at. And then also this like arcane magic is very important. A lot of the bubble magic and a lot of the Babylonian-inspired magic.
Yeah, the bubble magic's pretty strong,
or just
despite how goofy it
so it's kind of like associated with those practices. But it's really cool because Miquella's butterfly's wings can create the dappled cure meat or the dappled white cure meat, which is very similar to, in like function and in visual design, the ancestral following horns, which help with like our immunity stat, our robustness stat, our focus stat.
The timing changed.
It's like this idea of like a cure or like older medicine that like helps us increase our like robustness and like our immunities. And it's really cool because like Miquella's whole story is about finding a cure for their siblings, and I want to talk about that. And I think that it's like such a beautiful story.
Why did I do that?
It also made me wonder about Tim Diggity's video because we were talking about whether or not Tim Diggity is Melina? Whether or not Miquella is Melina, or Miquella is the Glowmine Queen, or Melina is the Glowmine Queen.
I'm going to tell him that to his face.
I want to break this down a little
Melina
bit
and Miquella are not the same.
Really important, but hold on to this ancestral follower relation because
they're
is
just
important
related. They're
so we're going to get into Miquella's history. So Miquella is the child of Radagon and Marika, and Miquella was born during this era of the Ur-Tree. I want to make it very clear, the Glowmine Queen is over here. She's back over here. She's old. She's older. And,
so the Glowmine Queen would have had to been around before Miquella.
The Glowmine Queen and Queen Marika's runes are twin runes.
So Melina.
They're like the same, but they're inverted, right? So we have the Rune of Dust and Death, and we have the Rune of Abundance, or what I like to call like the Rune of Life, or like birth. It's like flowing life, newborn life. So we have like this cycle of life and death that mirror each other. I definitely think that the Glowmine Queen was Queen Marika's twin because of this. But
I just think they're Melina.
To Queen Marika in another way that we don't know. Or, like I said before, there is also like a popular theory that the Glowmine Queen is an aspect of Queen Marika's self, and that she was both life and death, but she chose to see the part
she
of
doesn't
herself.
believe that Melina.
I personally like to see the Glowmine Queen as like a completely separate entity, although I would be open to Marika.
There's a theory that
some
people have that Melina is
Marika,
just another aspect of
I do think that
which I don't agree with.
And Morgoth having twin runes and being two separate individuals, I'm just kind of going off of that logic that is the Glowmine Queen and Queen Marika being separate individuals with opposite concepts. Malekith also is the one who sealed away the Glowmine Queen, and all of the Glowmine Queen related stuff, the Dust and Death stuff, happens to exist on Farum Azula. right, with the twin death birds and with Malacheth's arena.
Oh my god,
Rune,
that
and like all that shit. So
that shit just knocked me right back to it.
This giant floating mausoleum that was kind of like at the center of the primordial Erd tree was the Glowmine Queen's domain. It just makes sense thematically because it's all death related. Okay, moving on from that, let's talk about Miquella again. So Miquella was the child of Marika and Radagon, and Miquella had a problem with a couple things. So Miquella was like faithful to Golden Order fundamentalism, which is what Radagon championed. Radagon was all about Golden Order fundamentalism, and Miquella created a gift for his dad, and it was called the Rings of Light.
Yeah, that spell.
And there's an incantation that you can read. It says, "Radagon uses Rings of Light and fires them forward." It was a gift from young Miquella to his father Radagon, and Radagon responded with a grift. A grift, yeah. With a gift of gratitude to the young Miquella from his father Radagon. Produces a golden ring of light and fires it across a wide area, charges enhanced range. And yet, the young Miquella abandoned fundamentalism, for it could do nothing to treat Melania's accursed rot. This is the beginning
that's why they were
gold. So it seems like there was
agnostic,
some kind
I guess.
of,
not necessarily atheist.
I don't know if I'm reading into this too much, but it seems like this exchange may have triggered Miquella to then pursue creating the Halo tree and moving away from fundamentalism. It seems like he
also wanted to do something about the
like a young Miquella was beseeching Radagon
about
to potentially cure
the omens
Melania's rot
and the albanards and the bits we got.
Fundamentalism couldn't do anything for her, and so then Miquella chose to choose a different path. And Miquella's path is very interesting because Miquella gets into some ancestral follower stuff, Miquella gets into some Noxtella stuff, Miquella gets into like all different aspects of belief in order to try to like find a cure. And
he's just trying to pull from anything that'll help.
Things. It also seems too that like Miquella is concerned over the death of Godwyn the Golden, because Godwyn didn't die a true death. Godwyn's soul was destroyed, but his body physically lives and grows forever. So it seems like
he's just undead.
Miquella is like concerned about Godwyn's circumstances. It just seems like Miquella is playing with the circumstances of his siblings.
He's trying to fix all the shit that's going on, all the awful shit. That's what it seems like. You want to solve the problem.
Which makes sense because there's like a lot of other NPCs that also struggle to reconcile this.
This is some degenerate shit. Like
Miquella
observed that, he acknowledged that. Like, we gotta fix this shit.
And plays into all of this. I'm not
we really want this shit around.
I'll go into that in another video I can link below. But
is this really the best way?
It just seems like a lot of people are kind of like looking at Golden Order fundamentalism and being like,
does the Golden Order really have all
why isn't this? Where are all these curses coming from? Why is rot not like creating new life? Like, why is rot stagnating? Why are those who live in death not passing on? Like, what is going on here? And it seems like there's a lot of confusion and a lot of like divergence in philosophy to try to understand what's going on. So anyway, that being said, it seems like Miquella decided to take a different route, and one of the ways that Miquella decided to go was to look at Noxtella. And there's like a couple of lore beats that I think get lost really easily, but one of them is that there's the Castle Sol Knights who guard the walking mausoleums. If you go to Castle Sol and you beat Commander Null and you talk to the ghost that is at the edge of
it's in the snow area.
I have a picture of it. I don't.
You fight
There's
Neil.
a ghost at the end of Castle Sol that attributes Miquella to their whole organization. So
they worship Miquella.
He's like lamenting to Miquella because these are like banished knights that don't have fealty to anybody.
Those knights
it seems like they wanted to swear fealty to the Halo Tree. But Miquella said, in order for you to gain access to the Halo Tree, you need to fix my comrade. You need to like put the soul, or like duplicate the soul of my comrade during the eclipse. And it's a little vague as to like what that means or who the comrade is, but a lot of people theorize that Godwyn is the one who we're referring to, given a lot of the lore regarding Godwyn being like the soulless demigod, and given the lore regarding the Golden Epitaph and like Miquella lamenting about Godwyn, I think that is like a good a good like theory, you know. But the walking mausoleums utilize architecture and technology from Noxtella, and like it's very clear that like Noxtella probably existed around like here on the timeline. Miquella's born over here, so it's very clear that like Miquella is like getting technology from like an older civilization to do these like weird eclipse dark moon type rituals. Interesting. And then we also see Miquella like divests his flesh and becomes a tree. And
he doesn't become a tree.
Explicitly said by
he goes into a cocoon.
People theorized that this isn't Miquella.
He gets pulled out by Moog.
And it says, so the Halo tree, now but a husk. I heard speculation that Miquella embedded himself in the Halo tree. But
yeah, he went inside it.
Someone cut the tree open and absconded with his infant form. Indeed, it seems those words held weight. How vexing. So Gideon tells us this.
Like
and then I made this like visual a long time ago on Twitter, but you can see that this is like Miquella's body, and then there's like, you can kind of, I outlined like where his rib cage is and like where the arm is, but there's also this big lump in like the stomach area that looks like a womb. And
wait a minute.
Like
what the fuck is she looking at? I gotta see this.
I'm
gonna switch over screens for a second.
Cocoon and this like pelvis sat at this point
look at this and show
I do
it
think
to
that there was like a transference
what are you talking about?
I think that
wait a minute. There's a face you guys pieced together? I didn't notice any face here. This is like somebody drew this on the tree. Some fan drew it. Not necessarily what the game is showing, though. I don't know. But there might be something to this. I need to go back and look at that tree. This is in the room where you fight Melania, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. We'll check that out. I have my other file where we still have access to this area, and I killed Melania. So we can go get a closer look at it without trouble. Okay. We'll go back to the game. I'm thinking like Miquella can just create like a humanoid variant of himself out of tree parts, kind of like in Naruto, where like Senju, or Toby, no, not Toby, Hiruzen, not Hiruzen. What was his name? Hashi, yeah, Hashirama. He could, he can make tree versions of himself, but he wasn't an actual tree himself, right? He didn't turn into a tree. He could just make, tree parts that looked like him. Anyway. Oh, let me click the video again. This is a bunch of inside baseball. A lot of this is confusing, but I don't know. I understand it. I'm a big old nerd about this type of stuff.
The body that was inside of the cocoon was being absorbed and like slowly turning into the tree, and then Mo like ripped it out.
That's a possible theory.
And this is also supported too, in addition to like Gideon's dialogue, by the fact that like if you look at
we know he pulls him out of the tree.
Sorry, this arm right here, it's kind of like warped and weird. It's really long and kind of like twisty and bizarre. But it resolves and kind of like forms into a hand that is grasping this like rock. And at the very base of it, we see Melania, who is dreaming. She's like in a slumber, and she talks about how she's waiting for him to return. I kind of wonder if during her dream that she was trying to commune with Saint Trina, which is like the feminine aspect of Miquella, which is supported by like the lilies and with Ferber's cookbook and like the lore regarding that. It's not just cut content. By the way, I know there's a lot of people that are like, cut content doesn't count, but like the Ferber's cookbook uses like Miquella lilies and like Miquella items to create Saint Trina stuff, or vice versa. And the Ferber's cookbook is about Saint Trina. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about it. Whatever. So, Melania is like holding hands with this big tree entity, and she's like sleeping. So it's very clear there's like this rebus, multi-gendered aspect to Nicola. It looks like there was a the transference of energy kind of emulates like a pregnancy in some ways with the way that the cocoon would have sat, I feel. And then I think also too with like the medieval imagery of like the rebus, and am I saying that right? I feel like I'm saying it too close to like Reba or something. I don't know. But yeah, I feel that like Nicola is like engaging in this like ritual where they're feeding their sacramental blood to this tree to grow a tree, and I think that this is where we get a little bit of tie-in in addition to like the immunity ancestral follower shit. I think that we're getting a little bit of tie-in to this idea of like an ancient civilization that liked to grow trees. And I think that the Erd tree,
like every civilization in the world,
by a previous entity
that's ever existed.
Queen Marika, and
I don't know of any civilization that hated growing trees.
I'm pretty sure it was this guy. This is the man that the primordial Erd tree may have grown from, or maybe involved with. I don't know. Or he just knew some kind of like shit about growing trees that I think is like incredibly important to a lot of like groups that are trying to grow their own civilizations or grow their own trees. But I think that Mikola is one of them, and
trees have like a magical.
I definitely think that a lot of those
sort of
social practices and the stuff that Mikola is drawing from predate fundamentalist era stuff. So Mikola is like pulling all these ancient things from like death rituals and like the Glowmite Queen and Noxtella and all this other stuff. So it doesn't mean I think that Mikola is the Glowmite Queen.
No, I think
there's like a couple of damning things. It definitely seems like Mikola came in possession of some of the Glowmite Queen stuff, like the spirit calling bell might be associated with her, or might be associated with the snowy crone and spirit calling and like the royal revenants. There's a lot of overlap there. It's very interesting that Melina at the beginning of our journey gives us Torrent when Torrent was Mikola's. So there's some like overlap.
I mean, maybe but we're not Mikola and we get Torrent too. So
Mikola is
they could just pass it to someone else.
Like, what is going on?
I mean,
before,
I think she only has Torrent just because Mikola was in the tree. What's he gonna do with Torrent if he's in the tree?
Opportunity for her to be fragmented into like multiple different.
Of course, she had him.
She could be fragmented into Melina, Mikola, Melania.
She's one of the siblings.
Maybe like these are all aspects.
She probably stole him for all we know.
Maybe rot and decay, but then also death, and then also sleep are all different parts of death. Maybe they're like loosely associated. Maybe these are all separate outer gods that are associated with death. I'm like totally open to that, but I don't know, I just feel like saying that so many of the characters in the game are each other.
I don't like that.
Maybe it can lend itself to it
being
kind of like interesting about like internal conflict or something.
I think this is only a unique thing for America, which is why it's pointed out.
It kind of seems like it is getting a little bit tangled and messy with a lot of the speculation.
It's so weird that it's a secret.
I don't know. Whatever. Let's talk about Melina, because I feel like that is going to kind of tie up all the loose ends that I think some people might have.
The fact that it's a secret that America and
one of the bigger things that I've noticed in my community, or people that are new to my channel that come into the streams, and when I kind of loosely say Melina is the Glowmite Queen, people don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to break this down real quick.
So I don't believe that,
I don't think a lot of people have actually seen the Frenzied Flame ending or anything like that, but at the very end of the Frenzied Flame ending, we destroy the Erd tree, and it like breaks the cycle, right? We don't iterate on the cycle, it's fully over and done. And after we do that, Melina is able to like open up her eye, and she says, I'm going to deliver you what is yours, destined death. And that ties into the concept of destined death, which was what the Glowmite Queen ruled over. She was like in charge of destroying the gods, she was in charge of death indiscriminate. And Melina has a lot of dialogue about that, and the dialogue around her birth is also quite weird. And I'm going to talk about that
born at the foot of the Erd tree.
Let's break down some of her dialogue. So she says, first, that she is searching for her purpose given to her by her mother inside the Erd tree long ago, for the reason that she yet lives burned and bodiless. So, like, one, how could you be living burned and bodiless? why does she have amnesia about that? Like, what is going on about that? It's also bizarre too that like
probably been reborn. She don't remember shit.
Stagnated. Like she's only able to go to certain areas, and we have to take her to the Erd Tree. So that's like an important plot point. There's also a weird room in the Forbidden Lands that looks like it was originally like a room where she was kept. Do I have a picture of that?
Oh shit, we whiffed.
Maybe I don't. But there's a room. Oh yeah, I do. There's a room on the elevator. If you go up towards the Forbidden Lands, there's like a jump-off point, and it's like a secret room. And this room has a door that has bars and like a jail cell happening. And then there's a royal official who is sitting in a chair outside of this room, and this is where you actually get Melena's Blade of Calling. So there's a weird prison that is in this elevator. And a lot of people didn't realize that it's like a jail cell. But yeah, there's bars on the door, and there's an official that's watching it, that's sitting outside of it. So that's weird. Another thing that's weird regarding her birth, or regarding like her origin and where she was kept, is that she seems to have a really confused idea about what motherhood is about. She doesn't really understand the circumstances of her birth, but she also doesn't understand what being born of a mother means. When you tell Bach that he's beautiful, he starts crying, and she says, I think Bach misses his mother. Does being born of a mother mean one behaves in such a manner? So it's kind of weird that she has this like relationship with her mother, but she doesn't really know how she came about. She, talked to her mother long ago inside of the Erd Tree, but she doesn't really have like a maternal relationship with Queen Marika. And this
since they were fighting each other, and she's
like her identity and the circumstances of her birth are just like so bizarre.
She was defeated.
Was she born a preteen? How old is she? Is she 15? Is she like an infant? What's going on? I don't know.
She's not an infant, clearly.
Was she the result of an Erd Tree?
She's been around for years. So.
That went wrong. Is she just a remembrance? Like, what is she? She does have a physical body, so I was a little bit confused. But then she talks about how she's long observed the lines between this world is in dire need of repair and death indiscriminate. Are you prepared to commit a cardinal sin? That's before we take her to the Forbidden Lands to burn her. So she says she's going to deliver us what is ours, destined death. She has an eye that is like a purplish color, and a lot of people attribute this to being like dusk eye or gloam eye, like when the sun kind of sets below everything and the sky turns like that dark indigo color. Also, for those of you that were wondering, there's that entity called the Dusk-Eyed Queen, and there's another entity called the Gloam-Eyed Queen. I had Lucky translate them. They are the same entity. That was a localization error, so they are the same. So it's good to know. Another little cool fun fact about Melina is that her tattoo resembles a bird's foot. It has 3 claws, and then it also has the dew claw that is right here.
I never even noticed her tattoo.
I know a lot of people were thinking it's 3-finger inspired, but it's actually more avian inspired.
So she has one,
which is a little neat wink and a nod to the Death Right Birds and some other bird-related imagery regarding death. So I kind of love that. For those of you that are wondering why her eye closed,
a lot of things signal her to be relevant to death.
In
so she has to be the Gloam-Eyed Queen.
Soulsborne lore have to do with truth or cosmic knowledge or divine knowledge that's otherwise obscured or revealed. So I think that her eye closed indicates a form of amnesia, but her eye open indicates a form of clarity or insight or perception. I think that's what that is about. I know that Mesmer also has a closed eye, so I kind of wonder if there's some people that speculate there's a relationship between Melina and Mesmer. I'd be curious about that because there's this idea of kindling or burning. She acts as kindling for us, but she doesn't really have an affinity with fire outside of that. She doesn't use fire attacks when we help her, or when we summon her to help us fight Morgoth. She uses holy attacks. So it's kind of interesting. She doesn't have this affinity with fire outside of being burned, and any maiden can be burned. It's not exclusive to her. So I find that interesting. But also, there's this relationship with fire that Mesmer has, but he burns people. He's on the flip side of it. So she's burning herself for sacrifice. he has an affinity with fire because he's like, there's a lot of theories, and I agree with this, that he may have like helped sealing away the giants, or that he may have been, his like era may have been associated with sealing, I don't know. This is all speculation, but it seems like maybe he was instrumental in the Giant Wars. We'll see. This is all like. I mean, he could have nothing to do with the Giant Wars.
I think he has more to do with
like,
the land before
imagery with like the fire giants and
the lands between before America took over.
Punishment. And
they took over a land that was already
like
inhabited
humans that were gathered together
ruling
and were
system.
being burned like kindling, kind of.
And they
it
killed
seems
those
like,
people.
Almost like she was the burned and he is the burner. I don't know, but I don't know. I think that the scorched butterfly itself, the fact that it serves as kindling for a number of items, like the function that we use the butterfly in, does attribute itself more to Melna than Mesmer. But I do think that the affinity with fire is more Mesmer. So I'm curious to see if it ties together at all.
Way more relevant to fire.
This is kind of a reach.
He uses those attacks in this trailer.
Detail. Somebody pointed out that the veins that are on this butterfly's wings kind of look like the top of the Erd tree.
Oh, I fucking pressed it, dude.
Could resemble like the Erd tree burning, or like, the first cardinal sin, maybe associated with Mesmer potentially being the first one who burned the Erd tree or attempted to burn the Erd tree. But yeah, I'd love to see more on that in the DLC. I think that'll come to light soon, in June. It'll be sooner than we know. Oh, another little side note that I wanted to touch on that I thought was really cool. So Miyazaki loves to like iterate on previous NPCs like Big Hat Logan or like Yuri the Witch from Demon Souls, and like all the different witch iterations throughout all the Dark Souls games. He loves to take like NPC ideas and kind of like reiterate them or reformat them or rework them in a way that supports his like new story a little bit better, which I love that though. It's like a really clever way to reuse assets, so that way you're not like starting from ground one with every single thing that you do, and it allows you to make your next creation more robust and like to add more to it. Iterative work is awesome, and I don't want to downplay that. I don't want to make it seem like this is lazy, because I don't think that Elden Ring was like the product of laziness. I think it was the product of being able to like revise and iterate in a way we
already know what the origin of Elden Ring was.
But I do think that
Miyazaki wanted to make
it to Dust and Death theme,
because
and Black
he wanted
Flame
to
and
make a game with shit he originally wanted to do
and like
with the original Dark Soul, but just didn't have the technical capability
of life, or like a false life cycle, does kind of like resemble.
This was like the most early
interview
about Elden Ring where Miyazaki
she has like violet eyes. The fact that she's like rejecting Flame, and that she's like representative of Black Flame. Her character design just reminds me so much of Melna in a lot of ways. I think it's like the color palette and like the cloak and the violet eyes and the kind of like scarred face, or like the cloak, like, I feel like there's a lot of inspiration being pulled from her, which I love to see. So yeah, that is the breakdown that I have of these three kids. I'm like curious to see, in the end, who is who, what is what, whose identity is which. I'm like, I know that this is left ambiguous to encourage the drama. Like, I know Miyazaki's out there, because like, for those of you that don't know, Miyazaki's the most fucking dramatic developer. Like, he loves to start shit. So
he likes to troll. I don't know about drama. He likes to troll, that's for sure.
Had the pendant item.
Yeah, that's the troll thing.
Hinting
that was
like,
funny.
Oh, if you start with the pendant, something interesting will happen. And then it turns out that like
there's nothing.
There's nothing.
It was great.
Like, hold on, wait, let me see if I can find that interview.
He's a fucking troll. Like, he also lied about how long the game was, Elden Ring.
Upon beginning a new Dark Souls game, you're offered the chance to pick a starting gift to help you on your travels.
He's a fucking liar, and I love it.
These range from very useful, like a master key that can unlock any door, to forgettable, like 10 firebombs. The most mysterious item was the pendant. In the in-game description it read, "Trinket, no effect, but fond memories can comfort travelers." Upon Dark Souls' release,
and then they troll people
Miyazaki said
in
in
Dark Souls 3, making fun of
pick the
people
pendant or nothing.
from the first
For
game.
the last 13 months, fans have clamored to find out what hidden purpose it had. The Dark Souls wiki devoted
there were so many
1,600
people
words to
theory
speculate
crafting
as
around
to
that
its true
useless
effect.
ass pendant.
Only now has Miyazaki addressed this most mysterious of items. When it comes to the pendant, I actually had a bit of an intention to play a prank, he said. That's right, when I said it had no effect, what that meant was, no, seriously, it has no effect.
I forgot it has a time limit.
Given how insanely obscure Dark Souls' dense systems are, Miyazaki knew fans would go crazy figuring it out. So the whole thing was just a giant red herring to keep people guessing. Well played, Miyazaki-san. Well played. And I think that kind of like sums up Miyazaki's design philosophy in a lot of ways. I do think that keeping story elements dramatic or keeping phrases a little bit vague or, you know, some of the kanji that's being used to describe some of these things is quite archaic or flowery or a little strange, even in Japanese, I know. So, like, the word crucible can be interpreted in English so many different ways, but in Japanese it's only interpreted one way, and there's a lot of, like, localization efforts to try to, like, discern the meaning behind particular NPCs and concepts and items. And so it's really interesting that we see, you know, how community-driven these games are, because since its inception, Demon's Souls was like so esoteric.
Yeah,
like,
very community
none of the menus made any sense. So it really
there were no guides for that game
come together and try to like decipher everything. And I love that about the lore. That's why I love the lore, is because it's community driven too.
Yeah,
and
I like the
writing these like vague characters, or
I like the puzzle solving that basically goes on
character,
with the
or
community.
that there's a spirit self and a physical self. I think that it lends itself to the drama, and I love that. And
the mystery solving.
That's why I want to encourage y'all to check out Tim Diggity's video on Is Melon Nicola. Because
yeah,
I think it's
it was pretty
compelling.
decent.
Even
I don't agree with
I'm
him,
not
but
like
it
fully
was
sold
good.
on it. I think it's compelling, and I think that y'all should absorb all the weird ass theories while we still can, because this is the most like beautiful time for Soulsborne lore. It's like
Oh my God,
everybody
dude.
can be correct and wrong, and we're all just like having a good time throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying to figure out what the fuck
Mom spaghetti.
is going on.
Yeah, I'm throwing all of it.
Yes, thank you. This video was like super fucking long, but I hope that y'all.
I like long
fun.
videos about lore.
And I'm gonna be creating like I'm gonna be doing a
I'm
ton
weird,
of content. Obviously, I'm gonna be streaming my playthrough of the DLC completely like first time.
Yeah, that'll be a month
No
from now.
knowledge. We're gonna be like hitting every single wall. We're gonna be looking for all the mysteries. It's gonna be fantastic. So make sure to tune in for
It's
that.
gonna be a chunky ass
I'll be sure to play
DLC.
alongside
I'm
you
sorry.
guys. And then I'm also gonna do like a couple of just fun videos, kind of like a, you know, like maybe like a breakdown of things that I'm most looking forward to for the DLC. Like I want to talk about the Yokai, I want to talk about the Briars and the Bloodstar, I want to talk about all that stuff. So yeah, I think that we're gonna be in for a treat with the DLC, and I'm quite excited. So yeah, thank you so much. Bye. 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 Bye.
So you've become the Elden Lord, but before you, it was Radigan. And before him, it was Godfrey, who items call the first Elden Lord. And yet, even before Godfrey, there was another, Placidusax, an ancient dragon who ruled as Elden Lord in the prehistoric age before the Earth Tree. It's
that's
him
right.
and his kin that you're going to be learning about in this video. But to quickly summarize, first there were the ancient dragons, who had these stone scales that could twist
you
time,
missed?
making them essentially immortal. And yet some ancient dragons can be found
Getting
dead,
trolled,
buried
dude.
in the rocks of Faral Azula, which twists and crumbles.
Oh
in
my
eternal
god,
storm.
dude, I didn't
On
roll.
the ground, their
What the
descendants
fuck is
were
going
organized
on,
between
game?
without the stone scales of their ancestors.
The controller is
Instead
fun.
of stone scales, they've
This is
inherited
fun.
aspects of their environments. The ice dragons roam the icy mountaintops.
This long and short of
Stone
it.
dragons feasted on sorcerers.
Go listen to a
One
body
feature was
video.
so strong that he even endured the
just went
scarlet
right to
rot
it.
in Caelid. And it's here in Caelid that Grail, mother of all the mortal dragons, lies dying. There's a lot to talk about. This is the story of Elden Ring's dragons.
I should have done it.
Many item descriptions note that the age of the ancient dragons was prehistoric, and I think that's an important word because it might explain why Godfrey's recorded title is the first Elden Lord, even though he's not. Placidusax is. The word prehistoric denotes a period of time before written history, and while there are spoken legends from this time, I think what they're trying to get across is that the Elden Lord before Godfrey wouldn't be well known. This was before the age of the Erd Tree, after all, and the Erd Tree would eventually come to be considered perfect and eternal. So the idea that there might have even been an Elden Lord that came before could have been considered irrelevant at best and sacrilegious, I think, at worst. But what really is an Elden Lord, and why was Placidusax considered one? I feel like the role of Elden Lord can be roughly narrowed down to three things. You are made eligible by A, your strength,
You're dead.
B,
We got
your
him.
validity as
We
a
fucking got
consort,
him finally.
and or C,
Fuck 'em.
your willingness to bring about a new age or order.
This is an
Specifically, the
experiment,
Elden Lord is
really.
tasked with
The reason I
bringing
even
about
killed
the
him
Greater
is an
Will's
experiment.
order,
One second.
built around
One
the
second, I gotta
Elden
pause
Ring
body right
that it
quick.
sent here long ago. Hence the name.
I've got to
Elden
read
Lord.
something.
Sounds simple, but then remember the nature of the Greater Will.
Placidusax. I've been pronouncing it differently, but I think it's, both are fine. Okay, we got the dragon, Great Claw. I'll read that. That's a tough weapon. And we got the shield. We're not going to use either one because we can't. Our stats will not allow it on a level 1. But maybe on another build. Okay, this is an experiment because I wanted to see, can I even go into the capital after killing this boss? We only got 50,000 from that motherfucker. It gave me such a hard time. I mean, 50,000 is not bad, but gotta get more. Okay, can we go in here? Maybe not. I remember being blocked from going in here for some reason. That was on my original playthrough. But I forgot why. Not that way. So dark in here. Drab and dreary up in here. We at least accomplished one of our goals today. Now we just got to kill Radon, who's much more tough. And the run back for Radon is annoying because you got to just ride all the way up to that hill, dodging all of his bullet hell till you get up there. It was not blocked off. I can go in here. I don't know. Seems we're here. Yeah, we're here. No, we're not in the capital yet. Okay. So, we're not quite there yet. I remember getting ambushed here. Oh, that's right. Here you are, motherfucker. Not gonna ambush me this time, though. I know better. Anyone else want to step up? No? Good. Oh, yeah. Now I remember. Geronimo! Nothing over there. Okay. Really? Nothing? Well, fine by me. Okay. Yeah, that's death. We don't want to go there. A bunch of lying messages, though. Tree, oh tree. Oh, it just says something random. Oh, because you can see the tree. That's it. Friend, by the way, no jumping ahead. Some people just didn't listen, though, because look at this. Want to hit this? Okay. Oh, well, they didn't die from. Oh, they did die from jumping off. Yeah, I tried that. That doesn't work. I think Melena's gonna be here as well. Our boy Bach's not here. He's supposed to be here. But we did skip some steps. We need to go talk to him back in Liornia. There she is. It's Melina.
My utmost thanks for bringing me to the base of the Erd Tree.
Where she was born.
I can govern my own movement, and thus the accord is fulfilled. I shall depart to ascertain the purpose I was given. Farewell. I shall leave Torrent and the power to turn runes into strength. Here, with you, I wish you luck in realizing your ambition. You have fought long and hard.
I'll say.
I have no doubt you will become Elden Lord.
Oh, aren't you a sweetie?
May you take the throne.
Okay. Oh, Bach's right here. We didn't even talk to him before.
Bach the seamster, at your service, master. Ready to make adjustments to your garments.
Did you see it?
Master, did you see it? The Erd Tree. I don't really have the words for this.
Did you not see it before?
So dazzled, I felt something stir in my breast. The Erd Tree is waiting for you, master. I know it, I do. I feel it in my bones.
Me too, bro. Me too. What can I alter, though? I don't think I can alter anything cool. How would you... Oh, you just lose the cape or something? Well, what's the point of that? Who would want to do that?
Oh, going so soon? Please do be...
Aw. It's so sweet. Okay. Let's activate this. Now, we're gonna have to go to another location. We're gonna do some NPC shit too, right quick, because I gotta go talk to Thops. Maybe Celia first. Also need to go back to Godric, the arena. I'm gonna spend all of my runes. I don't have to worry about this later. Huh. This shit is, it is, I guess. I don't know. What is this? No, we would never use that. Already bought this. See if I can level up a weapon. Okay, now I remember.
No.
What?
I need to do better than this. This will never kill a god.
Uh-huh.
Better than this. It needs to slay a bloody god.
He's been plotting to kill a god. I never heard this dialogue before. Or if he did say it, I just didn't notice it. He's made he's like enslaved to make weapons for us by the gods. So this is why he wants to kill them.
Oh, it's you. Don't pay me any mind, it's not important.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything. Gods who? Am I right? I still can't level this shit up, dude. I need to. I have nothing I can use or strengthen anyway. Guess we'll get out of here. Can you talk?
Greetings.
Or will you talk?
Are you here for spirit tuning?
There's something you should know.
I can hear it from the howling.
Oh, it's the same dialogue about him.
I can hear it from the howling. You should keep your distance. I know you're strong, but please.
Not open yet. We know when that opens. There she is. She's still there. Feeling crestfallen.
Please, leave me be.
Okay.
Pathetic, I know, but I need to think.
Poor thing. Alright. Now we're going to jump to Godric. See what's going on there. If the NPC is left. Once Kenneth Heights shows up, that'll be good. But I don't know. I might have fucked up the quest. Not where everything is. I made this map too big. Should have kept that blank for a while, but it's fine. We'll deal with it. Wait, it's over here. What am I doing? It's or near here. Okay, we got it. I might pour myself a drink. This motherfucker is still here, dude. This is not a good sign. You're not supposed to be here, dude. Almost want to hit him. He's still not in that chair. Okay. All right, let's get the fuck out of there. Let's go to the other cellar. Or cellar? Our icon's here. All right. Okay. We want to see you. I'm trying to see the number. Is it 2? Okay. I was looking at something off screen. But we got it. What did you say? Again? Oh, there it is, the tower. Who's talking? Oh, it's this guy. I thought he was done. To our home, but... Okay. You're a fanatic. Oh, it's right here. I think. This is the wrong cell. It's not this one. Oh, it is this one. Well, I don't know what the hell happened. Selling is gone now. The other's selling. Well, I guess Sellen's not here. Alright, let's get the fuck out. We'll go fight Radon. I wanted to spend all these runes, though. We just don't have the capital to do it. Alright. You're listening to something in the background. Man, my workout really tired me out. Technically, I haven't really been going to sleep this week. I've only gotten like 2 hours of sleep for every day. Sometimes no sleep. So it's starting to affect me. Got a little bit tired, but if I have something on in the background, it's not going to affect me. Okay, I'm going to click another video.
See,
Oh, that's a parody.
today's video is brought to you.
It's only like 3 minutes long. The biggest 4chan dating app just got leaked. Alright, I'm going to get a drink for this one. Boyos. Be right back. Ooh, man. I'm feeling my muscles from the workout today. I did a different workout today. I'm not used to it yet. I got up too fast. And a muscle I'm not used to pulsed. Okay. Also have a snack. Right back yet again. Where's my bag? There it is. Okay. Might turn on the air too. It's getting kind of warm.
You buy your friends over at or.
No, we're not going to watch that one first. We'll watch something else. Maybe. Assassin's Creed Shadows. The game is peak Ubisoft. Another MMO canceled, huh? Which is this one? Is it Ashes of Creation? I'm pretty sure. I don't trust that one's coming out. I think they already canceled it actually. Okay. No, not that. Hello? Oh, okay. Out now, huh? Huh. No, not that.
Are you ready?
Oh no, definitely not this. Oh, if Asmongold was an Elden Ring DLC. Let's listen to it.
Oh my. I don't know what to expect right now.
3 months ago. I never saw
At
it.
all.
Hello friends,
I don't
in this
believe I
video,
did.
I'm going to show you how I went from this Unreal Engine 5 template to this fully playable Dark Souls game.
Oh, I
in
did
the last
watch
2
this.
weeks.
Yeah, I think I watched it on stream. Never mind. We're not going to watch it again. No thanks. I don't want premium. Okay, we'll just listen to this then. This is a Mutahar video. I don't really like Mutahar, to be honest, but he's not as egregious as some other people that I also don't like.
Today's video is brought to you by our friends over at Aura. Have you ever Googled yourself, your full name, email, home address, health records, and hey, information regarding your relatives
Not
maybe
really.
floating around on the internet? See, data brokers who work in a scummy industry where they're allowed to grab your information and sell it, and Aura exists to basically navigate through their own minefield of opt-out requests, which they legally have to provide in order for you to have your information removed from their databases, okay? So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, Aura, which is a sponsor for today's video, wanted me to tell you about the AT&T security breach, which again had 73 million customer records, both existing and former by the way, leaked out to the public and released over the dark web. And that of course allows a lot of these data brokers to look through that information, package it up, and sell it to nefariously bad people. So of course, even if my information was compromised, I wouldn't worry because Aura's always on, always active, and keeping me safe. And of course, they also provide extra features as well too, which you don't need to learn. I need to look more into that before I trust it. As well. And all of it's packaged under a convenient price tag as well. That's it. If you value your privacy like I do, go to https://aura.com/SOG to start your 2-week free trial. And that, of course, will be in the description below. Let's get to the video. Oh, it's such a nice day out today. Hello, guys and gals, me, Mudahar, and if I use the word fortune dating application, you might be like, whoa.
Fortune, oh boy.
What are you talking about, Muda? There's a dating app for the chainers? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, today's video is about finding love. But what about in your quest of finding love, that your personal information gets scraped and distributed for everyone to see? Well, that's an expectation you have to basically accept. What if you found out that everyone on your dating app was actually just a dude? The gender ratio was like 16 guys to 1 woman. Well, it would sound a lot like Tinder now, wouldn't it? This is Dualicious, online dating, but
I don't know, I've never used
Tinder. True love pilled. you can tell this
took a big old gulp.
boys.
That was a mistake.
Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you to the very beginnings of this actual post, okay? Now, back in August of 2023, on the 4chan board SOC Cams and Meetups, an actual anonymous user, who later went by the terminology Duo Daddy, posted an actual link, Experimental Algorithm Edition. SOC seemed to like it last time. So they posted a website with web.dualicious.app. They write, it's unmoderated at the moment, so don't do anything illegal. You can sign up with a fake email by making it, at example, your OTP will be 0000000. In that case, only SOC is on there. I might delete your accounts after the thread's 404 because I'm still working on the app. So here you got access to do an alpha testing thing. And how did the average 4chaner react? Well, the first post was, wow, another data mining dating website. Good one, bro. See, there's one thing you gotta understand about 4chan, or really any Chan board. The fear of being infiltrated by the feds is actually alive, and it's actually a real fear that people have.
They're on there.
The idea of data scraping,
the feds are on
stealing
there.
applications is something that anybody would fear when working with this kind of stuff. But of course,
doing a lot of
obviously,
psyops on sites like that.
Use your email,
or social media in general. Anything that's popular enough.
So obviously,
the feds are on it.
That was a response from the developer, as denoted
they
by
want to
the
manipulate public opinion.
For the poster.
They do that with popular spaces.
And of course, one of the other things mentioned was, I don't know, man, Desumatch was a scam too. Desumatch, for those of you who don't know, was another actual matchmaking for non-normies. Of course, this is an application form.
Which I think is where a lot of the more fascist rhetoric is coming from. They're promoting it there.
But that doesn't have to be your reality forever. Our service is unique in that we only work with people who are serious about finding a committed relationship. I'm going to tell you guys right now, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Do not use dating apps. It goes for not just the 4chan stuff, even the
way ahead of you, dude.
99% of that shit is filled with honeypots anyways.
Yeah.
Or not just honeypots, sorry. What is catfishes?
Catfish, yes.
But of course, looking in deeper into it, obviously this person started to basically gather a lot of these people, a few of them, and the
bears do like both
initial amount of people
honey
that
and
jumped in on
catfish.
October of 2023 on a different thread was currently
and possibly
1,074 anons in here, all from SOC and the rest of 4chan. So again, this is still during testing, but to give you an idea, the actual people here were 517 from the United States, 67 from the United Kingdom, 61 from Canada, 54 from Australia and New Zealand, and over 270,000 matched question answered during the last thread. So of course, one of the actual users was like, we need a brainstorm session to figure out how to make more grills spawn more often. If you make a dating app with a ratio
a real grill?
1-to-1, you'll be the next Cuckerbird. That is, ladies and gentlemen, easier said than done. So again, to go back to Dualicious, or I hate how I keep mixing Duolingo in my head. You can see even more testimonials, for instance. Biggest psyop in the history of 4chan. This is the worst idea anyone has ever had.
Yeah.
This is pretty stupid. Just a weird data mining project. Duolingo, thank you! That's where my head is stuck into. God damn! How do I get this? Well, it's quite simple. So here they write they've got 50,000 active members from your favorite fandoms, 16 million answers to our matchmaking personality quiz so far, and it's free, ad-free, unlimited messages, but they do beg you for donations. So it's available on the Google Play Store, not the iOS Store. It does have a web app, which is primarily what we're going to be using. So if you read their FAQ, what really separates this is there's plenty of dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, OkCupid, Boo, Hinge, and to be honest, we all think they're all great apps to find a date online. So with all those amazing options, why choose Dualicious to meet new people? It's simple. Dualicious is a dating app that lets you find love by personality. Our fun quiz helps you find like-minded people and shows you a new match for every answer you give. They use the Myers-Briggs type indicator. Dualicious isn't only an MBTI-based
sounds meaningless.
Dualicious is a Big-Five-based dating app too. In fact, we use 47 different personality traits to help you meet the right people. Our traits cover politics, values, ethics, and more. And I think Dualicious is the best personality-based dating app around. So, whether you want to date an INTP or an ESFJ, or you don't care about that and just want to date a foodie like you, we've got you covered. I actually have no idea what this is. I need to read this up. What is an INTP? That is an
I have no idea.
Intuitive thinking and prospecting trait. A logician. What is it? I assume that's outgoing, probably.
And he's one of those personality descriptors, his personality test descriptors. Where you go to these stupid
get this thing started. So they got the standard privacy policy and whatnot. But of course, let's just log in and see what it's like. Oh, look at the safety hints. Meeting in person, public places first. Inform someone and stay sober.
Oh my God!
Watch out for red flags.
Really?
If it's too good to be true, be skeptical. Money matters. Never send money, gifts, or personal financial information. And trust your gut. Yeah, I think I think that's good advice to give. Anyways, let's sign up and figure out how
trust your gut.
Works.
Yes.
So here it
that
asks
always
me
goes
for
well.
an email, right? Now again, I'm going to give it a temporary email address just because, ladies and gentlemen, I definitely do not recommend you use your actual email address to sign up for this kind of stuff. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that obviously, even according to the OP, the actual person who made this was
pretty sure a lot of these guys got catfished by their big gut
project, and they even linked to a GitHub.
They got probably tricked into getting free food or something.
And
on
again,
some other
I'm
scam.
not here to dog on somebody, but one person running one hobby project definitely doesn't account for covering all the gaps in security possible. So you have to be really careful. And again, never give your actual identifiable stuff to something like this. And again, that should just be general understanding for really any kind of application that is.
I would never give any personals on
stuff.
anything relevant to 4chan in particular.
And again, I'm just going to drop that in there, hit continue, and it's going to ask me, what gender do you want to date? So here I've got man, woman, agender, intersex, trans man, trans woman, transgender, non-binary, or other.
All the
options.
options.
Just to get myself in the dating pool, let's pick what I would do. I guess go with women, I guess, at this point.
I guess I like women. I don't know.
I would say.
Not
What's
sure
my first
yet.
name? Tom. All right, I'll drop that in there. What's my
I mean, he might as well just
information?
write
I'll just give any
A-sex.
random
It's
address,
just not really
or,
true.
sorry, date of birth, type of location, Los Angeles. Okay, let's just drop that in there. Wait, there's a Los Angeles, Texas, United States? Hell yeah, let's go for that, dude. That's fucking based. Photographs? Pics with people get about 11 times more messages. Oh, hell yeah, let's drop in a fat picture real quick. Hell yeah, dude, let's go for that, boys. Hell yeah, let's drop one of these.
You know, I always want to put a picture on.
Tell me about yourself. I like memes
like the test shit like this, but I don't want to put like my face on there.
I like memes.
I try to put like body pics on there. Like, well, maybe don't think my body's at least attractive.
Oh my god!
But they won't accept it, so I can't even test this stupid shit.
Hell yeah! So what is it?
So this is one of the main things keeping me away from Tinder or OkCupid or any of that other shit.
Hell yeah! Let's go.
I'm trying to dip my toe in to see like what comedy I can get into.
Ratings? Absolutely.
But they won't accept the body pics.
If your date's ringtone was the baby
They want my actual
song,
face, and I'm like, I don't want to put my actual face on anything connected to this shit.
Because I'm on an episode to catch a predator. Should your partner back you up
What
in
the
fights
fuck?
even when you're wrong? Hell yeah, dude, it takes two to
Rewind
tango.
this.
Do you fold your toilet paper before wiping? No, bro, I use my
Fold
hand.
your toilet paper.
Would you ever kiss someone on the first date? Sure, why not?
Oh,
so
I get it,
immediately
yeah.
after just going out
I mean,
of
you
my
want
answers,
to,
it
you want
says
that,
my
you don't
openness
want to stick,
experience was
you don't want.
86%, sex
I mean, it
focus
depends
was
on the ply, I guess.
84%.
Like how much
God,
ply
I'm
there
a
is.
cooler, bro, and I'm empathetic.
Because if you
My
don't
fitness
fold it,
focus is
sometimes your
70%,
fingers will
could
go
a
right
little
through
lower
there.
than that. Okay, so after answering a bunch of questions, like, am I a weeb? Okay, which was... did you
You'd save more money on a bidet though, and I mean, you still should wipe even after using a bidet, I would say, but you'll be using less toilet paper with the bidet. Because you won't need to wipe so much.
Reality show? Would it get good ratings? Absolutely. You know how much crazy drama happens? If your date's ringtone was the Baby Shark song, yeah, that means the feds are outside the actual place waiting to bust me because I'm on an episode to catch a predator. Should your partner back you up in fights even when you're wrong?
Wait a minute, why?
Dude, it takes two to tango.
Is there something illegal going on? Well, I guess it is 4chan. Let me go
Would you ever
back.
kiss someone on the first date? Sure, why not? So immediately after just going out of type of location, Los Angeles, okay, let's just drop that in there.
Wait,
there's a Los Angeles,
part of
Texas,
his video.
United States. Hell yeah, let's go for that, dude. That's fucking based. Photographs?
He's a Canadian.
Pics with people get about 11 times more messages. Oh, hell yeah.
So he's never been to the States.
Real quick. Hell yeah, dude. Let's go for that, boys. Hell yeah, let's drop one of these in there. Tell me about yourself. I like memes and work for the Fed. No, I shouldn't write that. That'll never get me a match.
What?
I like memes. There we go. Let's drop that in. You're looking like a snack? Oh my god, this thing is so cute. Hell yeah, so what is it matching it up with 50%? So would you date a robot if they had a great personality?
No.
Oh, hell yeah, let's go. Should long-term partners know each other's phone passwords? Sure, why not? If life was a reality show, would it get good ratings? Absolutely.
If a robot could make could do expressions elaborate enough to make me attracted to it, I'm not going to think there's an actual robot thinking for itself. I'm thinking someone's catfishing through a robot.
Back you up in fights even when you're wrong? Hell yeah, dude, it takes two to tango. Do you fold your toilet paper before wiping? Nah, bro, I use my hand. Would you ever kiss someone on the first date? Sure, why not? So immediately after just going out of my answers, it says my openness to experience was 86%, sex focus was 84%. God, I'm a crooner, bro, and I'm empathetic. My fitness focus is 70%. You can go a little lower than that. Okay, so after answering a bunch of questions, like, am I a weeb, okay, which was...
Yeah.
Did you get good grades in school? Do you think kindness is better than intelligence? I basically got linked to one person who was my best match. Now, you can just click on that one person. I'm going to block out, like, images of people that definitely are AI, but I'm not taking the risk. Now, it should become very evident that this 47-year-old, I guess, individual does not exactly appear to be a traditional 4chan or somebody that was advertised to initially.
Well, 4chan's been around a long time. I could see a 47-year-old being there.
It feels very catfishy.
Or being a 4chaner.
Feel
at this point. 4chan is full of boomers at this point.
People's answers. So the way that they do it is, again, they want you to answer a whole bunch of questions and then amalgamate you and then basically get you into a dating pool. All right, that's basically the general premise of how this application works. Now, of course, now that Dualicious, I've explained to you how it works. I even showed you the actual application. It's a pretty decent-looking kind of dating app clone. Well, the way it got leaked was apparently the information that I had put up was so public-facing that all it required was a group of individuals to scrape that information and amalgamate it into one pool, one easily accessible website where you can search by clubs, bios, names, or locations. And this kind of sheds more light into why this application didn't succeed. So...
It didn't succeed?
Statistics-wise,
why
there
not?
are 47,800 men on this website. Okay, not bad whatsoever. 3,085 women.
Good, the ratio. Good God.
Oh man, it's a bigger sausage fest than Tinder. You got 240 agender, 36 intersex, 2,011 non-binary, 553 other, 262 trans men, 1,710 trans women, and 147 transgenders. So, again, this is a website that is primarily dominated by the old pickle, and there is not enough women to basically go around, okay? You're talking about, again, if you want to mathematically apply, you're probably looking at, what, like 15 to 16 dudes per woman on average, all right? Which is, again, not healthy. And look, even if you compare this to other websites like Tinder, look, clearly those sites also have a severe gender imbalance, and I'm pretty sure there's also a lot of catfishers. When you see 3,085 women, that's probably a number far smaller than that, because you have to account for the catfishers and scammers and the federal agents that are involved into this. So one thing that really honestly hurts me looking at this is looking at the amount of men. There is a serious love problem, okay? these are guys that probably do want to actually fall in love, okay? Even if it is with like a 4chaner. You know, at the end of the day, love is
couldn't
love,
be that
okay?
desperate.
And
Not
everybody
4chaners.
needs somebody, right? That's kind of the hope that people have. There are people genuinely signing up thinking they are going to find the love of their life, only to realize that they're basically in what amounts to a giant online gooner session. So looking through some of these actual applications, it does kind of hurt. It feels like some of it is legitimate. Like, for instance,
The
one
gooner
of them we
session?
looked at
Oh, God.
was their about section was, I am literally Solid Snake. I have no life outside of gym, uni, and video games, to be
Yeah,
honest.
Solid
Everyone
Snake was
thinks
all about
I'm,
the uni.
you know, R-worded, okay? Age is 23, drinking sometimes, education none. So of course, obviously, when you go down into it, you can see that their dating profile pictures are Iroquois Pliskin. Okay, you got a cute Doge. All right, I have to censor it because it does show an image of this person. They're a pretty burly person. They got a whole sword and everything, and of course, Robert Downey Jr. So, and then you go look through other stuff like one must imagine Sisyphus peeing his pants. I like memes. The very concept of memes, like how it actually originates from evolutionary biology, and how close memes are to genes. Without a change and mutate and evolve just by imitation, the DNA of the soul, for real, I play weird indie games usually. Currently won't stop yapping about Hades 2 and into tech and programming.
I do want to
Also
play
sometimes
Hades too. I might get it
Got a
tomorrow.
lot of interest, mostly because I think undiagnosed ADHD, but who knows? Is that enough for an intro? Discord, and I'm gonna blank that out, okay? Goddamn. So again, their images are obviously of memes, so why pussy bleed? Who heard it? Who is this period, dude? Where do you stand? So look, very much a 4chan dating application, okay? Nobody's gonna argue about that whatsoever. Now, a lot of the popularity for this was gained off of TikTokers who basically, made content out of this by infiltrating Dualicious and trying to basically see what kind of profile pictures that we just saw, okay? They were making fun of it, all right? They were basically calling it out for big memes. And there were big Twitter accounts as well, too, showcasing, again, the average female that you would find on this site, okay? So if you wanted to find somebody that was absolutely going to slice your fucking balls off clean, one snip, one slice, this is probably the only application you need it. So the actual way the leak had happened was, again,
I got distracted by what he was saying.
Was a data script, okay? So it wasn't like the actual application got hacked into on a administrator level. I'll let Dualicious describe exactly what happened, okay? Dualicious users' data was leaked according to some tweets in the past few days. In reality, only publicly accessible information was actually scraped. In any case, I'm about to take the app down for maintenance while I make it harder for that to happen again. So, again, what that basically means is the people's names, their faces, locations, education backgrounds, all of that stuff got leaked out. And that kind of stuff is, or should be, relatively private information. The fact that it was so public-facing is already a sign to show this developer's
deliberately opened
misunderstanding
up.
of
I don't
what
think it
is
was an accident.
and what should have been private, okay? A lot of that information that we saw should have been private. There were people's actual universities that I had to blur out.
Should have been,
because
but
that
wasn't.
was just leaked out in the actual thing. And
Due to,
sure, they might have given it
I
up
guess,
on a
corruption.
public-facing level, but that's no excuse for the
Probably
developer
some
not having
glowy
the foresight
outfit.
to keep some of this stuff private, especially when that information can lead to personally identifiable information being leaked because of it. So anyways, what had happened over here was they patched the issue within a day of learning it. And what was the patch? They said that member profiles previously had sequential URLs. So for instance, profile/1, profile/2, the number at the end counted the order in which the user signed up. So effectively, you could just go to profile/ all the way up to like 50,152 and download that specific user's information or whatever was publicly facing. So again, what would happen was the URLs were easier to guess than if they were actually random. And now I guess they are surprisingly random at this moment in time. So that means information like, for instance, Swagmaster42069, who apparently the summary of their
These sound
account
like
is
fake
woman
names.
under widow
They're so
Goonie, Hunter Biden's laptop. If you actually open up their account, which
maybe he's
obviously
joking.
Mark Zuckerberg in a plate carrier is not going to necessarily be him. Swagmaster is one of those guys where he's pretty honest about stuff. Can anything be joked about? Yeah. Are you a virgin? Yeah. Well, me too, buddy. Would you be open to attending a first date at a DIY taxidermy workshop? I don't know. That's pretty scary, pal. yeah, that person's information, or at least a lot of the personally identifiable stuff, ended up being leaked out. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, they ended up pushing a lot of patches to their website, and so far, the Dualicious 4chan app
my
seems
irresponsibility is catching up to me.
Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, what have I learned
This is a
today?
funny little conversation he's having, but the video's almost over. Yeah, I'm too tired. I am way too tired. We at least killed a boss on this stream, but this is going to be a short stream. I can't stay up longer. I need to go to bed. The 2 hours of sleep I've been getting for the past few days is catching up to me. So I'm just going to end it before I fall asleep on stream. And thanks for coming in. If anyone was in the background, I know someone was here. They chatted a while ago. Bella. Yeah, have a good night. I'll probably stream tomorrow. Yeah, because I'll at least have had more sleep tomorrow. Anyway, take care.